Man, I'm happy, but I'm disappointed at the same time. The Suns, Chris Paul, they're 2 games away from being NBA champions. That also means 2 games away from the season being over. And the Bucks aren't giving us a fight. Like, they're just kind of rolling over. Like, I'm very disappointed with the way these first 2 games went, but I'm also happy because the Suns, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, 2 wins away from the championship. But something's got to give, man. But this series might be over. Suns up 2-0. Bucks reeling right now. I'm here to talk about it, man. It's Rick Knows Hoops. I'm your host, Tyreek. Still just with the audio. No camera right now, but it will be back soon. But be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. This is a place where we talk about NBA basketball, so if you love hoops, this is the place for you. Now, like we mentioned, the Phoenix Suns up 2-0, man. And, I got to give the shout-outs to the guys that really deserve it. First off, Devin Booker started out the game very poor. I believe he was like 1 for 6 to start the game. Turned that around, scored 31 points, 12 for 25 from the field, hit 7 out of his 12 three-point attempts. He said before the game, when he was asked what would Kobe say to him if Kobe was still here, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. And he basically said Kobe would tell him finish the job. Kobe has that famous video where he's in the press conference and he's saying, job's not finished, so, that's why he's not smiling. Well, D-Book seems like he's got a similar type of mentality, that Mamba mentality, and he played like it tonight after that poor start. And he just hit some timely big shots. When the Bucks were making a run, I believe he had back-to-back three-pointers to stretch the lead back into double figures. Just a big-time game from Devin Booker. One thing I love about D-Book, he never seems rattled. Even on his bad nights, he's still able to hit big shots. And he did that in the Clippers series. He's doing it now in the finals after a poor start. Hit timely shots. Still ended up with a big-time game. Shout out to Devin Booker once again. And then this guy right here, man, I've been saying it for like the past 2 weeks, bro, because Mikal Bridges, one of the most improved players in the NBA during the regular season, shown that he is a very, very good 3-and-D player, had been shooting the ball poor in the playoffs, and there were some games where he would only take 3 shots. He just didn't seem like he was confident on the offensive side, and the Suns were able to get away with it. But I've been saying the Suns need a Mikal Bridges game, and they need a Jay Crowder game. They got the Jay Crowder game, Game 6 against the LA Clippers, and I'm saying they needed a Mikal Bridges game. Game 1 was a very solid game. That was one of his best games of the postseason offensively, at least from my memory. But Game 2 tonight, Mikal Bridges showed out, man. 27 points. Big time for Mikal. He did hit I think 6 free throws in the final couple minutes because they were fouling and stuff. But nonetheless, 27 points for Mikal Bridges, big time. If you get 27 points from a role player like Mikal Bridges, when this Suns team is already so good, you can almost guarantee a win. As Charles Barkley, guarantee a win in that regard. But they needed it tonight because DeAndre Ayton had probably his worst game of the postseason. Second worst game of the postseason. This is the first game all playoffs where he didn't shoot 50% from the field, which is a ridiculous stat this deep into the playoffs. But he didn't play that well, and the Bucks, Coach Budenholzer made a slight adjustment to really packing in the paint, protecting the paint. But then that leaves shooting lanes for players. Mikal Bridges hit 3 three-pointers. One of my favorite podcasts, Through the Wire, host Pierre, he always says, if you get 2 or 3 threes from Jay Crowder, you might as well wrap the game up. It's over with. And tonight, they got those 2 or 3 three-point attempts or three-point makes from Jay Crowder. And, if you get 2 or 3 from Jay Crowder, you might as well wrap the game up, like Pierre would say. And Jay Crowder really played well. Mikal Bridges performed excellent. Chris Paul, timely shots. He played a very good game. He did have 6 turnovers, very unlike Chris Paul, but still very good game from him controlling the game. And big shout out to the Phoenix Suns for being able to get this win. Let's get to the Bucks. I'm going to start with the good. The good is Giannis looked like Giannis. He was pretty much unstoppable in this game, especially in the second half, especially in that third quarter. Giannis he was doing whatever he wanted on the offensive side of the floor. He was making plays on the defensive side as well. But the downside is nobody else picked up their end of the bargain, man. Nobody else picked up the slack. When Giannis, was out of the game, or Giannis can't do everything. He can't do everything. And these are two players that I like a lot. I love their games. I think they're two of the more underrated players in the league. Jrue Holiday, Khris Middleton. Jrue Holiday and Khris Middleton. I'm gonna start with Khris Middleton because he played well. He was the only consistent offensive threat in game one. He didn't shoot the ball like amazing, but he was putting up buckets. He was getting buckets, keeping the Bucks in that game one. But game two, man, he disappeared. He disappeared, even though he hit a few shots in the second half. But when I looked at the final box score and seen that he only had 11 points, I'm like, bro, you're a max. Pretty sure he's making max money. Like, he's making a lot of money. You're an all-star. You're borderline 50, 40, 90 every single season. You are the second best offensive player on this team. You could argue the second best player. Khris Middleton, man, you got to be better. You have to be better, man, for your team to have a chance in this series, because you're going up against that Suns backcourt, which is, aside from the few games in the Clippers series, this Suns backcourt has been pretty consistent since the end of that Lakers series and all the way through the Denver series. And the first two games of this series, they've been pretty much doing whatever they wanted offensively. DeAndre Ayton's been very consistent, even though he had a bad game tonight, at least shooting the ball. And then you can get a game where Jay Crowder, hits, 4 or 5 3-pointers, or you get a Mikal Bridges game like you did tonight, and you got a lighter Mikal Bridges game in game one. Then you got games where Cam Payne comes off the bench, plays very well, or Cam Johnson hits 3 3-pointers off the bench. You have the Torrey Craig game here and there. Like, there's options for the Suns team. The Bucks don't really have that. They're very thin rotation-wise, and you have to provide something, especially in a game where Giannis plays like this. You got to provide something. The fact that Khris Middleton did not do that tonight was very disappointing, man, because, Cash Money Khris, I give him a lot of respect. I give him a lot of praise, too, that most people don't really give him, because his game, it's not flashy. You could argue it might be boring, but he does what he has to do. But tonight he didn't do that. And they have any chance of making this a series, man, he has to be he has to go bucket to bucket with guys like Devin Booker, man. He can't get drastically outplayed like that. And this was just a very poor game from him tonight. Like, just very disappointing for Khris Middleton to perform like he did. And Jrue Holiday. Big fan of Jrue Holiday. Been saying for a while, one of the most underrated players in the league. NBA players will tell you he's vastly underrated. That everybody says he is like the best perimeter defender in the league. Kevin Durant said that. Everybody that JJ Redick's brought onto his podcast has said Jrue Holiday is one of the best, if not the best defender on the perimeter in the NBA. And we know he has a very good offensive game too. But tonight, these first two games, really this entire postseason, he has not been doing much offensively, man. 7 for 21 shooting tonight. As poor as it gets, I think at one point he was like 3 for 12. He was just shooting the ball terribly. Seems like somebody who's lost his confidence on the offensive side. I mean, he finished off the Atlanta series very good. But, I mean, outside of those two games, man, it has not been a welcome sight to see Jrue Holiday, play offensively in the NBA playoffs. He just hasn't been there. And it's hard to see, man, because he's somebody that, we've been saying, a lot of people are saying, once he's on a big stage, you'll see how good of a player he is. Still a very good player. We know what he is capable of, but he's just not performing to that capability right now. And, even with that being said, you're like, okay, well, he's going to rebound the ball well for a guard. He's going to, play make very good, and he's going to defend. Well, while it's not like his defense has been bad in this series. He's made some very good defensive plays. But the Suns are not afraid to go at him. Like, you'll see a lot of teams trying to avoid Jrue Holiday, but they're not afraid to go at him, to put him through those pick and rolls. And Chris Paul, Devin Booker are doing whatever they want offensively. And it's tough to see just Jrue Holiday struggle like this, and even him not being as impactful on the defensive side. But you would hope going back to Milwaukee, the Jrue Holidays, the Khris Middletons, those guys will play a lot better. But I think there's just more problems with this Bucks team, man. we have to realize how big of a loss Dante DiVincenzo was. And that's a name I don't think I've said on this channel in a very long time because it feels like he hasn't played basketball in a very long time. But the loss of him, he's a very good defender. He can hit the three-point shot. Somewhat of a secondary playmaker. Not having him on the court just shortens your rotation even more. And now guys like Bryn Forbes are getting minutes. Jeff Teague is getting minutes. Jeff Teague is getting 12 minutes in an NBA Finals game in 2021. This is not 2015 Jeff Teague. This is 2021 Jeff Teague. And 2021 Jeff Teague is not he's not as good as 2015 Jeff Teague. Like, he's just not that good anymore. And he's somebody that you wouldn't expect to get rotational minutes in an NBA Finals game, in a close game. Not, garbage time, in a close game. And that is just that is not the downfall, but that is just, hard to see. Like, why is Jeff Teague getting so many minutes? Why is Coach Bud still running like 9 deep? Why is Bobby Portis all of a sudden just getting 5 minutes in the game when, in game 1, he wasn't bad on the pick and roll defenses. You're just going against elite guards. Like, he was there. He was contesting shots. He was doing better than Brook Lopez was doing. And Bobby Portis was one of the best three-point shooters during the regular season. And when you're struggling to hit the three, you only hit 9 of 31 attempts from downtown. You need somebody like Bobby Portis getting more minutes. I don't see why Bobby Portis is only getting 5 minutes in this game. And, I question whether, how much you can play Brook Lopez. And that is still a question mark. Even though he was a little bit better defensively today, it's still a question mark in my eyes. Pat Connaughton played really well, but 34 minutes for Pat Connaughton, it's a lot. That's a lot of minutes, and I like Pat Connaughton. He does a lot of little things, but that is a lot of minutes for Pat Connaughton to play in the NBA Finals game that you're already down in the series. You don't want to go down 2-0 because we've said time and time again the Suns team does not play with their opponents, man. They will step on your necks, and they will be looking to take a commanding 3-0 lead, man. So, once again, shout out to Giannis for having such a very, very productive game. But the others, man, where are y'all at? Like, if I was Giannis, I would be looking at Jrue Holiday. I'll be looking at Khris Middleton like y'all gonna help me? Because we're down 2-0. This Suns team is as hungry as any team that we've seen. I need help. I need help. That's like, if I was Giannis, I would be telling them guys, like, I need help. I need y'all to step up. I need y'all to play like how y'all was when I wasn't on the court. Y'all need to play with that sense of urgency. And right now, the Bucks co-stars, they're not doing that. So, is this series over? It might be. It might be, man. It really might be over with because I just, like, do I trust Coach Budenholzer to make the right adjustments? Not really. Not really. Do I trust that Khris Middleton and Jrue Holiday are going to step up their game? I don't know because I haven't seen them all, those two with Giannis, all have really good games. And if it was, it might have been in the first round because I don't remember that happening. So, yeah, and I don't trust the rotations of Coach Bud because, like we mentioned, man, Jeff Teague getting those minutes, I don't agree with that. Bobby Portis not getting more minutes. I've been an advocate to give Bobby Portis more minutes, and his minutes have been fluctuating. So, like, kind of disappointed because I thought this was going to be a very good series. It's just the first 2 games. The Suns did what they had to do. They want, like, I feel like I've said this so many times on this channel in this postseason run. The Suns handled their business at home. They won 2 games. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to protect home court. But do I trust the Bucks to protect their home court? I don't. I really don't. I kind of hope I'm wrong because I love basketball. I want to see a good final series. It feels like, last year's finals in the bubble was cool, but it feels like it's been a while since we've seen a very, very good series. Like, 2016 might be the last very good series that we've seen. That was 5 years. I was still in high school. I was 16 years old. I was still in high school during that series. Like, it's been a long time since we've seen a very good final series. So, like, I don't know, man. The Bucks, they got to give me something. The Bucks have to give me, they have to give us as basketball fans something. Because at the end of the day, We just want to see a good final series. Of course, I want to see Chris Paul win a ring. That's one of my favorite players. Of course, I want to see him win a ring. But I would like to see a little bit of resistance. Like, show a little bit of heart, bro. Like, show a little bit of heart at least, man. Like, I don't know. The Bucks, they got till Sunday to put together some type of game plan to get back into this series. I don't know. I guess something that might help them. You hate seeing injuries, but Suns are a little banged up. They're not going to be as deep. We don't know what's wrong with Torrey Craig, but he did go down. Monty Williams said, look, if Torrey Craig's on the ground for that long, something's not right, because he's one of the toughest players. Shout out to Torrey Craig, man, because I was an advocate. I was saying after Game 5, when he played most of that fourth quarter, guarded Paul George very well in the conference finals series, I said he needs to get more minutes, and he played a lot in that Game 6, played a lot in Game 1. He was pushing 8 minutes in Game 2, but probably would have played a lot more. He got hurt at the end of the third quarter. And, like, that hurts their rotation a little bit, but, you're still 7 deep, man. You got 7 guys that you can really trust. And Coach Monty Williams, he trusts Abdul Nader as well. He was kind of been out of the lineup a lot because he was hurt, but he came back, I think, last series. And they trust him, too, as a defensive specialist. He can fill in that Torrey Craig role to an extent. He's not as good as Torrey Craig, really, on either side of the ball, but I think he can, fill in just a little bit, sparing minutes here and there. But you still got the Cams off the bench. You still got your wings, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder. You still got those guys. I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going to play this bad the rest of the series. And your backcourt, your all-star backcourt, is doing whatever they want in this series so far. So, if you do have to lose Torrey Craig, you did already lose Dario Saric too. He tore his ACL, so, get well soon, Dario. Hopefully you have a good recovery. But, at the end of the day, is the Torrey Craig injury, if he does not play the rest of the series, will that matter as much? I don't know, because the Bucks I don't even know if the Bucks have 7 bodies that I really trust on their team. Like, I guess maybe 7, but Coach Bud likes to run 8, 9, 10 deep sometimes. Like, you don't got 10 guys that deserve finals minutes. You barely have 7. So, yeah. Bottom line is, Suns are winning the series. Chris Paul, Devin Booker are winning the Battle of the Stars. And Coach Monty Williams is thoroughly out-coaching Coach Budenholzer, but is that really a surprise? I don't know. Yeah. Disappointed because I want a final series that's going to be very entertaining, but very happy because Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and the Phoenix Suns, 2 wins away from winning it all. So, guess that's the silver lining to not having a great series so far. But it's just 2 games in. We'll see what adjustments are made on Sunday. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe. Shout out to Mikal Bridges once again for a big-time performance. And I'll be back to talk about Game 3 Sunday night, y'all. Peace.